Hello, welcome to the stream where we learn to code together. Today we are going to try to make a calculator application using JavaScript. So let's start with CSS just to add the basic styles. Always starts with adding the asterisk, the universal selector, and setting the margin to 0 and setting the padding to 0. And we can also set box sizing to border box. And yeah, maybe background color to the body background color, and I am using this website called colorsui.com, and we can set, maybe choose this color, and we can maybe use a font. So I go to Google Fonts, and maybe we can use Open Sans. I mean, it doesn't matter which font family we are using. So let's go for this, maybe semi bold. Let's go for semi bold because it's a calculator application. We can make things look a little bolder. And let's import it in the CSS. And let's set the font family. Let's set the font family to Open Sans and sans serif. Okay, perfect. Then maybe add a display flex so that we can center the calculator application on the page. Content center and align items center. Also, we should give a height of 100 VH so that it also aligns vertically. Okay, so now our basic styling is done, I believe. So yeah, let's move on to the HTML part. So we'll be putting the main calculator application inside the main element with an ID of calculator. Let's tab it. So by default, CodePen uses emmet, so that we can type faster. Like, we can just type the element name and we can do a tab and it will be auto completed for us. So now we have the main wrapper around calculator. Now we can add a section where the display will go, or maybe we can use a header tag that will be more appropriate, which has a ID of display, and this has an h3 tag which will show the numbers like 101 plus 605. This is just a placeholder for now and doesn't look much exciting for now, but we'll get to the exciting part. So now we can maybe, let's for visual, getting some visual idea, we can maybe style the main tag, and here with the main tag that of calculator, we can give a background color. Perfect, now we have a background color and we can give it some padding of 5 rem on all sides. Yeah, 5 rem is fine. Then maybe we can style the display part. Display display part will have again a background color, and we can pick some other color, something light. Okay, and this will have a padding of top and bottom 1 rem and 0.5 rem on the sides, maybe 1 rem on the sides. Yeah, that looks much better. And for the main calculator, we can give a width of 400 pixels. Yeah, perfect. And maybe we can make this display rounder, so we can give a border radius of 50 pixels, and that looks pretty good as of now for the start. And maybe phone color we can give this. Let's add a phone color to the body tag. Okay, so now we completed the display part on the base design of the calculator in wrapper, calculator wrapper. So now we can add the buttons, and in here we come with a section which will have the ID of controls. Then this will have a div tag which will have button, which is we can have 4 buttons. Perfect, we now have 4 buttons. The first button will have 7, second will have 8, third will have 9, and the last one will have divide. Okay, maybe we can go ahead with styling the first row so that we can just get an idea of how the other controls will come up, other buttons will come up. So now again for the controls, we can say it has a width of 100% and nothing happens, of course. CONTROLS, and maybe here button will have a padding of 2.5 run. Perfect. I believe maybe we can give it 1 run on the left and right, so we can okay, sorry, 1 run, not 0.1 run. Okay, that looks fine. And we can give a border. Border is none. Outline none. Maybe some border radius. Border radius of 5 run. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe we can set the font weight to be bold. Yes, and the color. Okay, color is fine. Cursor we can set to pointer so that we can have this effect. A little visual cues. Okay, so now we have the buttons. Now we can maybe push it. So if we go and inspect the element, we can see how the styling is applied now. And we can see that controls is actually taking the full width, and the div is here and buttons are here. So if we do a display flex here, what happens? Display flags, the content space around, space between, space around. Go for space around, what do you say? Space evenly stretch. Space between. I don't know, maybe we can, what we can do is, let's do a control shift I and okay, so we can say the width is 80% and it has a margin of auto, so that by default will be centered. And here we can say the div will have, maybe we can give it an ID of class of button wrapper, btn wrapper. Btn wrapper, then give it a display flags and justify content space around. Okay, that looks good. So we can also add some margin here. Margin margin. Okay, okay, we can't do that in the. I mean, we can do that, but we are not doing it in the. Here we can add a margin of 1 rem and 0. Okay, that looks good. Perfect. And maybe we can make the buttons little bigger. So we can say the padding. This can be 3 rem. What happens if we do 3 rem? Too much 2 rem. That looks good. Maybe we can also increase the font size a bit. Font size 2 rem. Here 1.5 rem. 1.2 might be perfect. Okay. Mm, maybe change this back to 100%. And now everything looks perfect. So now our design, button design first row is looking pretty good. So now what we can do is we can create other rows. So now it's all about just copy pasting the button wrapper and buttons inside here. And here we can say 4, 5, 6, and it is a symbol of multiplication. And that looks good. And we can say button wrapper will have a margin. Button wrapper will have some margin on top and bottom margin. Margin, maybe margin bottom 1 rem. Yes, perfect. That looks good. Okay, now we have to add other bunch of controls. So now we have 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, and minus. Okay, now we need a cancel button. Okay, now we one more row. Let's add the last row, and this is about cancel. Then 0, then equal symbol, then plus. Plus is very important. Okay, now the visual design is fully completed. How many lines? 31 lines of HTML and 46 lines of CSS. Okay, all good. Now we have to think about how we are going to create the calculator features functionality using JavaScript. So first, let's break the problems like what we should do first. Like when someone clicks on the button, we need to get that button. So let's create a function in here. Button click. Okay, function button click. And so there should be some way to pass on what's coming up. So we have to accept a parameter. So we can say x, and we will say no, let's do a console log x. So what happens when someone clicks on the button? We need to fire this function and we need to pass the value or what's inside the button, and the function will console log the value in here. So now we can come here and we can call the function on click. We need to do this button click, call the button click function and pass in 7. So now if we do this, okay, we are getting 7, so it is working. Now we can copy paste it to other places, other buttons, and this will take in 8. Obviously we have many other ways to implement, like we can refactor the code or we can do it in multiple ways, but for this now I'm just going to go ahead with this method. So feel free to just clone the code pen or just add on to it. Okay, so first let's check the first row. If the first row is working, so 7 is working, 8 is working, 9 is working, and that is working, and maybe we don't need that thing, I'm not sure about that. So let's try again. 7 is working, 8 is working, 9 is working, and that has an error. So we need to put it inside a string. Perfect. Now it works. And now it works. Good. So now let's do the same for other values. So we have 5 in here. So we have 6 in here, and for the multiplication we have to pass it in a string, and that's done. Now again we will check it. So 4 is working, 5 is working, 6 is working, multiplication is working, perfect. And here it's 1, 2, and 3, and we have a minus button, which again is a string. Perfect. We can now test that feature. 1, 2 is working, 3 is working, minus is working. Perfect. And maybe we can. Okay, so here we can maybe for cancel function and equal function, you can move it to other functions, or you can implement it in the same function. As I said before, we have many multiple ways to implement the same thing. So let's do it this way for now. Um, okay, now we'll test the last line. So 0 is working and plus should be working, and cancel and equal is not yet implemented. We will see how we can implement that. Okay, so the first step is that we should take the input whatever is coming and we should display it in the display section of the HTML. So okay, so let's create a string display. Let's create a let display output equal an empty string for now, and we have to select the HTML section where we are planning to add. So here we can give it an ID of out display, and we can say out display equal to document dot query selector, which has an ID of out display. So now we have access to. Okay, so there seems to be some issues. Let's open the console. Okay, it's working, no issues. Maybe let's try to save it one more time. It works. Okay, the console just went full. Okay, perfect. So now we have access to basically this value in here. So we can remove this for now. And what we can do is, okay, now what we can do is that whenever someone clicks any button, any numerical button or the operator symbol, we can just say, append it to the display output string. So yeah, so let's try to do that, implement that one feature first. So when someone clicks a button, we need to set display output plus equal or just equal plus equal x Let's see what happens. Maybe we can console log. Okay, we should console log display output here, and we'll see what happens. Display output, and it is saved. Now we have 7, 8, 9. Okay, then if I do a plus, then if I do 5, 6, 7, and I want to minus something. Okay, it is working now. Okay, so we can do this. Okay, and 0, everything is working. We can do a division in here. Then we can do a, sorry, we can do a multiplication and then a division. Okay, that works. Okay, now we need to work on displaying the value in here. So further, so we need the value to be updated every time when the button is clicked. So here we are getting access to that HTML element, and now we are seeing that we are going to say out display dot value or text content equal to display output, and let's see if it works. Yeah, we got 7, 8, 10 plus 50, then minus 32, and that works. Okay, now okay, so the simple thing that we were trying to do was we need to get the numerical or operator clicks and grab the value and save it to some, like saving it in the display output value, and we are displaying that to the user. Okay, so now what we want to do is when someone clicks on cancel, we need to wipe this out. So maybe first we will implement the cancel function. So when someone clicks button click, sorry, we need button cancel. What it will go and do, it will clear display output first. Display output equal to empty string. Then we will say out display dot text content equal to empty string, and we will try to see if it works. So 1 is here, 2 is here, 3 is here, plus this is here. Now okay, first we need to call the function before testing it out. So here on click we are saying button cancel. So now if I write 75 minus 20 plus 31, and if I press cancel, everything is cleared, and the cancel button is now working. Then what we need the equal operator to work, so that we create another function button. So basically when we try to create functions, what we should keep in mind is that one function should do one specific task. If you keep that in mind, you can create functions very easily. So the cancel function is just doing the numerical or button click function is just taking in the input and the operator, and button cancel is doing just cancellation of the thing, and button equal will do the actual calculation. So button equal what it will do is it will calc out. So let's create a variable called calc output calc result. Okay, we can create a variable called calc result, and we should, okay, what we should do now, we should do an eval and should pass in the display output variable, because this display output is what contains all the thing that we are entering in here. So now we are passing it through a function called eval, which will evaluate the thing and will save the result to the variable called cal result. And now we'll just try to console log cal result for now and see if it works first. Okay, first we need to call it here again on click button equal. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now what we can do is we can say 12 plus 8 equal, and it gives us an error, display output is not defined. Display out, okay, okay, so there is a typo in here, so it is not OUP, it is OUT output. So now if we save it again and if we try to run it again, we can see if it works. So 12 plus 8 and equal, and we get 20 in here. If we do cancel, it's gone. Now we can say 5 plus 5, which gives us 10. It works. We can do cancel. I can say 10 plus 90 minus 20 equal, and it gives us 80, which is correct answer. So what we want to do when someone clicks on equal, we should, instead of console logging, we need to change the out display dot text to the result. So we can say out display dot text content equal cal result. And now let's try it again. So we have 12 in here and we have 6, then we do an equal, it works. We have cleared the display. Now we'll write 5 plus 5, which is 10, minus 5, which should be 5, and it works again. And again I press cancel, it is gone, and yeah, it is working. So I believe now what is left, I believe the application is complete now. Yes, so we have built a calculator application in 19 lines of JavaScript and 11 lines of CSS, not 11 actually, sorry, 51 lines of CSS and 31 lines of HTML. And so yeah, that's for the video. So try it yourself, see if you could modify the code, we could optimize the code. Okay, so maybe if you want to minimize the number of lines, you could just put the cancel and equal functions in the button click function itself, and you can do some if statement and do things. But it depends, like that might not be the best way, but you could do that way. No offense, the app will work, but this is easy to understand or easy to read. Like if you give this file to some people, they can just see, okay, there is three functions, so this is what the functions are doing. If you see, if you look carefully, like every function is just having like two lines which does like one or two tasks. So your functions should be very, like they should have only one or two tasks to be done. You should not bloat the function. Should be easy to understand when someone looks into your code. So yeah, that's all. So keep building, happy coding, keep coding, and yeah, that's it. Just sit down and just bang on your keyboard and build some projects.